You found the job. You read the posting, title, salary, location. 50 seconds, maybe less, and you hit apply. You think you read it. You read nothing. You scrolled past the one document in this entire process that was written for you by the person deciding your future, laying out in plain order exactly what to say to get the interview. The company handed you the answer key. You skimmed it for the price and dropped it in the trash. Last time, we buried the robot. There was no machine reading your resume and rejecting you. A human was, Christine, the recruiter. 6 seconds, 200 names in a list. And the thing that decides whether she stops on yours is not your formatting. It is whether you speak the language of the job before you ever reach her desk. That language has been sitting in the posting you skimmed the whole time. So let me take one apart, line by line, the way I promised, and show you how to read it the way the person who wrote it did. Here is what you have been getting wrong about a job post. You read it as an advertisement, a glossy wall of corporate language built to make the company sound exciting, most of which you can safely ignore. So you hunt for the 3 things you care about: the title, the money, the location, and you skim the rest like the terms and conditions on an app. A job post is not an advertisement. It is a confession. 2 people built the thing you skimmed. A recruiter pulled the role apart on paper, and the hiring manager, let me call him Marcus, sat in a room and answered one question out loud. Who do I need? Every dull line you scrolled past is the residue of that conversation. It is the company telling on itself, what it is afraid of, what is quietly broken that this hire has to fix, the exact words it will reward, and the exact words it will ignore. You were never supposed to read it for information. You were supposed to read it for instructions, and almost nobody does. That is the entire opening. The person who decodes the post walks into the process already holding the answers, while everyone else is still guessing what the company wants and hoping they sound close. Think about what that gap is worth. 200 people apply to Marcus's role. Maybe 10 of them read the post the way I am about to teach you. The other 190 wrote a competent, generic application that could have been sent to any company on Earth. Marcus is not comparing 200 people. He is comparing 10 who clearly understand his problem against a wall of noise. You do not have to beat 200 applicants. You have to be one of the 10 who read the thing. The bar is lower than your fear keeps telling you, and the way over it is sitting in a document you already have open. Picture how the post you are about to read was even born. Marcus did not write it for you. He wrote it angry. Someone on his team quit last week. The work is piling up. His own boss is asking when the gap gets filled, and he sat down and described the person who would make the pain stop. Then a recruiter sanded the rough edges off and dressed it in corporate clothes. Underneath the polish, it is still Marcus, venting about exactly what he is missing. Your job is to read through the polish and hear the venting. So let me take a real one apart. We are going to read a posting in 4 passes, and each pass pulls out something you were never meant to leave behind. Pass 1. The top of the post, the About Us paragraph, the part everyone scrolls fastest. It reads like marketing. We are transforming our industry. We are on a bold mission. We believe in our people. Your eyes glaze. Your thumb keeps moving. Stop. That paragraph is telling you why the company exists, who it serves, and what pain it is trying to pull out of the world. Underneath every buzzword sits a value, and underneath every value sits a behavior the company quietly rewards or quietly punishes. A company that repeats fast-paced and ownership in its mission is not making small talk. It is warning you that it promotes people who move before they are asked, and it loses patience with people who wait for permission. A company that repeats craft and precision is telling you the opposite. It will forgive you for being slow. It will not forgive you for shipping something sloppy. Look harder, and the paragraph tells you something even more useful. Who the company is afraid of losing. A company that keeps naming its customers, their loyalty, their experience, is a company terrified of churn. Walk in, proving you protect customers, and you are speaking straight to its deepest fear. A company that keeps naming growth and markets and expansion is afraid of standing still. Prove you make things bigger. The About Us is not bragging at you. It is showing you the wound it most wants the next hire to cover. Read the About Us section as a personality test for the building. Then ask the only question that matters here. Out of everything they say they care about, which 2 things have I genuinely done? Those 2 become the spine of how you describe yourself for this one application. Not because you are pandering, because you finally know what they are listening for. and you can stop guessing. Ashley does this. She reads the About Us twice, circles 2 values, and finds 1 real story from her past for each. By the time she writes a word of her application, she already knows her angle. The applicant next to her read the same paragraph in 4 seconds, learned nothing, and is about to describe himself the same generic way he describes himself to everyone. Same experience as Ashley, half the chance. Pass 2. The role overview. The paragraph that opens with "as the head of this, you will be responsible for that." This is the most valuable paragraph in the entire post, and it is the one people read the most carelessly. Think of it as the pitch Marcus would give at a dinner party if someone asked what he is hiring for. Strip the corporate phrasing away, and it answers 3 quiet questions. Why does this job exist right now? What problem is bad enough that they are spending real money to fix it? And how does fixing it help the company make money or stop losing it? Find the why, and you have found the center of the whole application. A company does not hire a role overview. It hires a solution to a specific pain. If the overview keeps circling the words scale and process, the pain is chaos. They grew faster than their systems, and something is breaking under the weight. If it keeps circling align and partner and stakeholder, the pain is politics. Teams are quietly at war, and they need someone to walk in and make them stop. If it keeps circling new and launch and build, the pain is that they are starting something from nothing, and most of their people only know how to maintain what already exists. They need a builder, and they are surrounded by maintainers. 3 companies, 3 completely different hires, and every one of them told you which it was in the words it could not stop repeating. The repetition is the tell. Whatever a post says 3 times, it is afraid of. And here is the move almost nobody makes. Your summary, those few lines at the top of your resume, should read as a direct answer to that paragraph. They describe their problem. You describe yourself as the person who has already solved that exact problem somewhere else. Watch the difference. The generic version says, "Experienced operations leader seeking a challenging role." It answers nothing. The decoded version says, "Operations leader who walked into a team breaking under fast growth and built the systems that held it together." Same person. But the second one read the overview, heard the pain, and answered it in the first line. If the overview even contains a question, and a surprising number of them do, you answer that too, in your opening line, in your own words. They asked. Most applicants do not even notice they were asked. You reply, "Here is what that looks like." The overview ends with a line like, "Do you love turning messy data into decisions that move a business?" That is not filler. That is the door held open. The skimmer reads it as a mood and scrolls on. You read it as a prompt, and your opening line becomes, "I turn messy data into decisions that move a business, and here is the day I did it." You invented nothing. You handed back the exact sentence they were hoping someone would say, with proof stapled to it. Pass 3. The responsibilities. The bulleted list of everything the job involves day to day. People read this list as a test they are about to fail. They count the bullets they cannot do, and they start to shrink. Read it the other way. Run every bullet through 2 fast questions. Have I done this or something close enough to it? And do I even want to? That second question matters more than you think, because half the misery in corporate life comes from people who chased a title and never read the duties stapled to the back of it. The list is not only telling you if you fit the job, it is telling you if the job fits you. Ashley reads a bullet that says owns all weekend escalations and quietly crosses the whole role off her list, because she knows exactly what that one line would do to her life. Kevin reads the same bullet, shrugs, and applies because he does not mind being on call. Same job. One of them dodged 2 years of quiet misery by reading a sentence the other one skipped. The list is doing you a favor. It is showing you the real shape of the job before you sign your life over to it. Now the number that changes the whole game. You do not need to do all of it. The honest target is somewhere around 70 to 80%. If you can credibly cover 70 to 80% of that list, you are not underqualified. You are a candidate. The missing slice is what the desired column exists for, and desired means exactly what it says. Nice to have, not required. For the gaps, you do not lie and you do not panic. You substitute. The thing you have not done in this precise form, you have almost certainly done in a neighboring form, and the bridge between the two is a transferable skill that you name out loud instead of hoping they infer it. Make that concrete. The bullet asks for experience managing a 6-figure budget. You have never owned a budget that size under that title, but you ran a project where you decided how $40,000 got spent across a year and you came in under it. That is budget ownership. You name it as budget ownership in their words, and the gap closes. The skill was always there. You had been describing it in language too small for what you did. Pass 4. The qualifications, required and desired. And this is where the real damage happens, because this is where most people quietly take themselves out of the race before it starts. Here is the trap, and you have walked straight into it more times than you would admit. You read a list of 10 requirements, you meet 7 of them, and because 3 boxes sit unticked, you close the tab. You never apply. You reject yourself on the company's behalf for free before a single human has seen your name. Kevin did this last month. Strong background, exactly the person Marcus needed. He hit 8 of 10. He saw the 2 he was missing, decided he was not good enough, and never sent it. Marcus would have interviewed him in a heartbeat. Marcus wrote 8 of those 10 as the floor and 2 as the wish list, because that is how every posting on earth is built. He expected nobody to clear all 10. The all 10 candidate does not exist, and the company knows it does not exist. They are sorting a spectrum of real humans, not checking off a perfect one. So the most expensive word in your entire job search is not rejection. It is the silence of the application you talked yourself out of sending. You cannot lose a competition you refuse to enter, and you refuse to enter far more of them than you will ever say out loud. A rejection costs you nothing but a few minutes. The job you self-rejected from cost you the whole thing. The decoded post tells you when you are genuinely qualified, and the answer is far more often than your fear has been letting you believe. Run the math on a year of that. A few postings a week that you almost applied to and did not. Call it 3 a week you talk yourself out of. That is over 150 real shots in a year, deleted by you, seen by no one. Every one of them a door Marcus would have at least cracked open. You did not lose those to better candidates. You lost them to a voice in your own head, doing the company's rejecting for it, faster and crueler than the company ever would. There is a 5th layer, hidden under the other 4, and it is the one that separates people who get hired from people who merely qualify. Every posting is built from 2 things: the visible list of duties and a quiet set of competencies the company is testing for but will almost never write down. The overview keeps saying influence without authority, yet nowhere does it list a skill by that name. That is the competency underneath, the thing Marcus needs and only hinted at. Read past the duties and name the competencies the duties are hiding. Then put those competencies, in their words, into your application, even though the company never spelled them out. You answered the question they were too polished to ask. That is the level almost nobody reaches, because almost nobody reads a post as anything more than a checklist. And do not skip the small print at the bottom, the reporting line, and the salary band if they show it. The reporting line tells you who you would be working for, and one level above your boss tells you the real power structure you would be walking into. The band tells you something the rest of the post hides, the level the company truly thinks this job is. If the title says manager, but the band says individual contributor, the title is a costume. If the band sits far above where you expected, the duties you read are heavier than they sounded. The bottom of the post is where the company stops selling and starts telling the truth. And once you have made all 4 passes, you do the thing the last video was building toward the whole time. You take the exact words the company used, the skills, the values, the phrases it reached for to describe its pain, and you weave them back into your resume in plain, honest language. Not because you are tricking a scanner, because the human reading you, Christine, 6 seconds, 200 names, is scanning for the language of this specific job, and you are the only applicant who bothered to learn how to speak it. You read the answer key, then you wrote your answers back in the company's own voice. One more thing before the move, because sometimes the post in front of you is genuinely useless. Vague, thin, 3 sentences and a salary. When that happens, do not give up your decode. Go and pull 3 more postings for the same title at other companies. Lay them side by side. The words that show up in all 3 are the real spine of the role. The things every company hiring for this job cares about, no matter how badly any single one of them wrote their ad. The pattern across postings tells you the truth that one lazy posting hid. So here is what you do, starting with the next post you open. You stop reading for the title and the salary. You read like a detective, and you leave with 3 things every single time. 1. Why this job exists right now. The specific pain that opened the budget. That becomes the headline of how you sell yourself. 2. The skills sitting underneath their values, not the buzzwords themselves. The behaviors the buzzwords are hiding. Those become the proof you lead with. 3. Their exact words. The phrases they repeat, the particular way they name the work. Those become the language of your resume and your opening line. 3 things. Every post, written down before you touch your resume. Most people apply with none of them, firing a generic resume at everything that moves and wondering why nothing lands. You walk in holding all 3. You are not a stronger applicant by accident. You are stronger because you did the reading the other 200 refused to do. And then comes the part that takes actual nerve. You apply at 70%. You send the application your fear told you to delete, because the person who gets the interview is almost never the most qualified one in the pile. It is the one who read the post like it was written to them, answered it in the company's own language, and flatly refused to disqualify themselves from a race the company would have happily let them run. There is a bonus hiding in this, and it is bigger than any one job. Every post you decode teaches you the vocabulary of an entire industry. Read 30 postings in a field you have never worked in, and you will start to sound like you belong there long before anyone agrees to hire you. The posting is free tuition in the language of the room you are trying to walk into. So go back to the tab you left open, the job post you skimmed in 50 seconds and filed under boring. Read it again. Slowly. Not as an ad you have to survive, but as a letter the company wrote about its own fears, addressed to whoever is paying enough attention to read it twice. 2 videos ago, you were terrified of a robot that did not exist. Now you are holding the one document that was telling you what to say the entire time. The gate was never the software. The gate was never your formatting. The gate is a human being looking for the one person who understands the problem, and a posting that quietly explains that problem to anyone willing to slow down. Most people read it once for 50 seconds and call it homework. You are not most people anymore. There is one more room in this building you have not seen yet. The interview, where they stop reading your words and start scoring you live on a sheet you never get to look at while you sit there guessing what they want to hear. That is the next door, and I am going to show you the grid they are filling in while you talk.